I'm going to end this section on politics with some interesting facts to remember and to share at a dinner party this weekend. Starting from the UK, there is no single written constitution. I mentioned this, in fact, in the first lesson. Unlike in Italy we have our constitution. Yes, we could look it up online and we could read it. It would be really quite easy to do. Or in the US, very famous constitution, we talked about it in lesson one. The UK constitution isn't a single text that you could look up or hold in your hands and like flick through the pages, but it's rather a collection of multiple documents, legal principles, and conventions. It's a very complex system called common law, as many of you already know. India, I mentioned about elections. General elections can take 6 weeks, and I say this because the latest elections, which took place in 2024, actually took 6 weeks. Why? Because India is the world's largest democracy, meaning that just shy of 1 billion people have the right to vote. And so, for example, the elections for the Lok Sabha, which is India's lower house of parliament, took 6 weeks, month and a half in 2024. And speaking of elections, in Australia, parliaments only last up to 3 years. Australia is one of very, very few countries in the world, only 6 countries in the world, where the terms for parliaments are only 3 years long, which is a topic that's often discussed in Australian politics because there's people that say that you can't get a lot done in only 3 years. US, a vote in Wyoming counts more than one in California. So when it comes to the presidential elections, these are decided by the electoral college system. The electoral college isn't an actual place. It's a system that gives all states 2 votes. And so we know that there are 50 states in the US, but obviously some states will be highly populated and some states will be less populated, like Wyoming, for example, but they'll still be allocated the same number of votes. And so the votes in Wyoming, for example, will hold more power than votes in states like California, for example, where more people live. Now, for example, if we look at the elections in 2016, despite winning numerically more votes, in the sense that if you looked at how many votes she got and how many votes Trump got, Hillary Clinton got more votes. However, once these votes were translated to the electoral college into the electoral college system, Trump won. And the electoral college system dictates how presidential candidates campaign. They campaign very heavily, for example, in states that are called swing states. So they are the states that could go one way or the other, whereas there are some states that are just very, very historically, traditionally going to vote Democrat or Republican. The blue states, the blue states or the red states. And so the swing states really are the ones where elections are decided. So it's a system that some people have said should be reformed, but in essence, it's how it works. And finally, South Africa. You may know this already, but it has 3 capital cities, where Pretoria is the executive capital and Cape Town is the legislative capital, so that's where Parliament sits, and Bloemfontein is the judicial one. So it's got 3 capital cities that split kind of the power. We're going to talk more about South Africa in our next lesson.